Hello, my name is Anniken and welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to do a yarn review and I'm going to talk about Blacker yarns. Blacker Swan DK from Blacker yarns. So first I'm going to just read out something from the Blacker yarns website. So the yarn is called Blacker Swan and it was launched in 2012 and it's based on a partnership between Blacker yarns and Swan Inlet Farm in the Falkland Islands. The owners of the farm shared the specialist donor, I think it's pronounced, merino sheep, sort and grade the fleeces, and then ship them, then send them by ship to the UK, where Blacker turned the fine white fleeces into luxurious worsted spun single flock yarns. In order to enhance these shades and reduce the tendency of merino to pill, most soft yarns like merino will pill. They also add 8% Shetland and dark blue faced Leicester wool to the pale base yarn. So merino is a pale yarn, so they add 8% Shetland and dark blue faced Leicester. Small amount of dark fibre increases the depth of the dye shades and enhances the special Swan palette. I think they have one shade that's not enhanced with the Shetland and dark blue faced Leicester. The Blacker Swan comes in a DK and a 4-ply weight. This is the DK and this shade is Balsam Bog, and it's a beautiful green shade. So the details of the yarn first. So it's a 50-gram ball and the DK comes in 110 meters, which is 119 yards. It does also come in a 4-ply, but I haven't used the 4-ply and I haven't checked the details of the 4-ply. Another few little details about this yarn. It consists of 3 plies. So you have 3 strands that are spun together to create this yarn. And a 3-ply yarn tends to make the yarn slightly rounder, slightly more bouncy. And it also gives you beautiful stitch definition. So this yarn is smooth, it's bouncy, it's soft, and it's lovely. So here's the swatch from this design here. I'll talk more about that design in a minute. But that's the swatch I knitted. So you can see how smooth and even it looks. That way up, I think. That's the way I knitted it. Really smooth, even stitch definition. Even so the only blocking I've done on this is to steam it lightly to smooth it out, but it knits up really evenly. So some yarns, when you knit them, no matter how good a knitter you are, they come up looking slightly uneven, and a lot of knitters think that that's their fault. Well, it's quite often the yarn's fault, or it can be a combination of the yarn and needles that you use, that the needles are too big for the yarn you're using. But sometimes the stocking stitch can look a bit uneven, and that's not necessarily your fault. That could just be the yarn. Certain fibres are a bit bouncier and kind of fill up the space that the stitches create more than others. For example, wool compared to maybe say an alpaca and silk blend, and also the way the yarn is spun. So if a yarn is spun with just 2 singles, or 2 strands that are spun together, which is a 2-ply yarn, it's a bit confusing here in the UK because we also use 2-ply and 4-ply to talk about yarn weight or yarn thickness, whereas a 2-ply, when you talk about spinning, is actually 2 single strands spun together, and a 4-ply is 4 single strands spun together. So this is a 3-ply, which is 3 single strands spun together, but it can also be a yarn thickness. I do think that's one thing here in the UK that we make it a little bit more confusing than maybe it needs to be for knitters. Anyway, it's 3-ply yarn, and yarns that are spun of 3 plies or more tend to create a rounder, bouncier, smoother yarn. Smoother when it comes to stitch definition, not when it comes to softness. So I've knitted this cardigan with this yarn. This cardigan is published in Knitting Magazine, issue 222. It is actually out, I think it might be out this week. I haven't received my copy yet, but I think I know it's coming out any minute now. So if I get the copy before I edit this video, I'll include a little preview of the photos in the video as well. So this cardigan is knitted from the bottom up in one piece. So you're knitting back and forth, and it was knitted in one piece to the underarms, and then the front and the back was separated, so you knitted two fronts separately and the back separately to the shoulders. Join the shoulders by working a 3-needle cast off, and then you pick up stitches all the way around the armhole, and then you shape the sleeve cap by working short rows, and then from the underarm you work it in the round to the bottom. The edges have garter stitch. There's garter stitch on the bottom of the sleeves, garter stitch on the hem, garter stitch along the 8-stitch cable. So this is an 8-stitch cable that goes away from the edge on both sides, and there are 4 garter stitches on the edge here. So, and also at the back of the neck, before I cast off the back of the neck, I did a few rows of garter stitch here. So basically all the edges are knitted on with the garment, so you don't have to pick up stitches and knit on anything afterwards. So once you've finished this, all you got to do is weave in your ends, which is great. It doesn't have a button. What I've done for this video is to put on one of these fastenings. Well, mine's gone blank. I think they're called the Knitting Gift Shop, but I will check that that's correct, and if it's not, I'll put the name of the shop on the screen. I'll also link them below. They very kindly sent me this a couple of years ago. I normally see them at knitting shows, and I haven't been to a show for almost exactly 2 years. But it's a little thing like that, and you basically just clip it on, one to one side and one to the other front, and then it just holds your garment together. So as you can see, it doesn't close it up completely, but it does stop it from like blowing around and flapping. So I think that's quite a useful thing, because I have a lot of cardigans, mainly commercial ones that I bought in shops that are sort of edge to edge, and don't have any fastenings. Obviously, because you're knitting this, you can make a buttonhole. So if you wanted to add a buttonhole, I would add it when you start the neck shaping. I would just add it to the garter stitch here. This cardigan, can't see this, but it's also got buttons. So there are afterthought buttons. It's got pockets. This cardigan also has pockets, afterthought pockets, which you can leave out or add if you want to. I wish I'd made them slightly bigger. It's about the width of my hand, but you can make them bigger if you want to. It's fairly easy. So, love this cardigan. I wish it was in my size because I'd love to wear it. Will I knit one for myself? Probably not. Probably won't have time. Plus also because it's a DK, I don't actually wear thicker knitted garments that often because I find them a bit too hot. But I do wish I had that one in my size. Okay, so let's get back to talking about this yarn. Oh, by the way, talking about the sleeve caps. So these are, as I said, they're picked up around the armhole and then worked from the top down using short rows to shape the sleeve cap. That is my favourite way of shaping sleeve caps for a set-in sleeve. So much easier than doing it from the bottom up and sewing it in. And the mats, from a designer point of view, working out the mats is so much easier. So I really like that. It looks a bit funny the way it hangs on my dress form. It's probably a little bit too big for my dress form. The front edges do meet, by the way. I think it's just a little bit too big for my dress form, really. That sweater is worked in stocking stitch, so I've only knitted stocking stitch with cables in this yarn. I haven't tried any other stitch patterns in this. Normally I try and knit up a couple of stitch patterns for these yarn reviews, but I haven't had time. But it looks really lovely in cables, and it looks really lovely in stocking stitch and in garter stitch as well. So this, it's only got garter stitch on the edges, but it's perfect for those kind of stitch patterns. It also would look very good in stranded colour work because it's quite a bouncy yarn, so it would even out and look quite smooth and nice in stranded colour work or Fair Isle. And you can use it for lace as well. I do fancy getting some of the 4-ply yarn and doing something lacy with it. So in my opinion, this is suitable for most things. It's perfect for garments for adults and children, although it is hand wash only, so do bear that in mind. If you want to knit something for children, do make sure that you're willing, or the person you're giving it to is willing to hand wash it. It's also perfect for things like a accessories like shawls, scarves, hats. I probably wouldn't knit socks or mittens and gloves with it. Socks and mittens and gloves in my life tend to be quite hard, get quite a lot of wear, tend to get, I need stuff that's hard wearing. So if I knit gloves or hand warmers, I wear them a lot. And the same with socks, I wear socks a lot. So they tend to wear out quite quickly. And I would say that this may not be hard wearing enough for that. But that's just my personal opinion. I have not knitted anything other than this cardigan with this yarn. I have had this yarn in the past and done swatching with it for various magazine submissions and things like that. This is the first like proper garment I've knitted in it. So it might be perfect for mittens and gloves and socks. I haven't tried it, so I can't say that for sure, but that's just my opinion, that it might be a little bit might just be a little bit not quite hard wearing enough. But I will, if you have tried it and you think I'm wrong, then please tell me. And I'm not being critical when I say that, but I would use this for a garment. I would use it for a hat, for scarves, cowls, any kind of accessories like that. Blankets, make a lovely blanket actually. The colors are absolutely amazing. And another thing that I like about Blackie Yarns is that they are a local yarn company. So they are Blackie Yarns. Their yarns are spun at the Natural Fibre Company. It's the same owners, and they're based in Launceston in Cornwall, which is about 30 minutes from where I'm sitting now. So it's a local company, and I really like that, and that's why I chose to use it for this design for issue 222 of Knitting Magazine, because the design remit, if you like, I think was ethical, and I can't remember the exact details now, but I think it was ethical, that they wanted us to use ethical yarns, local yarns or ethical yarns or naturally dyed yarns and things like that. So I chose a yarn that was local to me. I know the fibre comes from the Falklands Islands, but most yarns are shipped back and forth across the world for spinning and various processes that are involved in the yarn making process. So to get a yarn that's 100% from this country is quite difficult, especially if you want the softer yarns like merino. So I do think this is good. I like it. I really love this yarn. I love the stitch definition, and I love how soft it is. And I've got 2 balls of this left in this colour, so I may have to knit myself something with it, maybe a hat. I like this colour. I might knit a cowl or a hat. I might get another colour to go with it and design something. I haven't decided yet, but I love this colour, and I will definitely use this yarn again for future designs if I get the chance. Okay, so tell me, have you tried Blackie yarns? They have a big range of other yarns as well. This is not the other yarn in their range. They have loads and loads of different yarns, and I have used some of their other yarns. They also, the Natural Fibre Company, part of their company, also spins yarns for other people. So they spin yarns for small scale producers mostly, I think. So if you're a farmer and you have sheep or alpaca and you want to get it spun somewhere in the UK, they do that kind of thing, as far as I know. I have been to their mill once a few years ago now. No, I've been there twice, I think, a few years ago now. And it's really fascinating. So I don't know whether they allow tours, but if you're coming to Cornwall, it's worth checking in. Launceston is on the A30 going into Cornwall. So if you are driving down the A30 into Cornwall, they are literally right next to the A30. So do contact them if you fancy stopping in there. Okay, so tell me, have you tried this yarn? Have you tried Blackie Swan DK, Blackie Swan 4-ply? What did you think of it? Have you tried any of the other Blackie yarns? If so, what did you think of it? Let me know. And thank you very much for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing, and please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and please leave me a comment. It's lovely to hear from you. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.